I've been braiding rawhide since early teenage years, off and on, until maybe the last 15, 20 years when I really got serious in it and wanted to try to get better. And I'm completely self-taught, except the reason I came to this is to hear other people's ideas, and I've heard a tremendous amount of ideas that I can take home and really use that I think will really improve my braiding, and I think this is one of the best gatherings of any group that I've ever seen, because it's going to help me tremendously. I specialize in making cowboy gear, mainly for working cowboys, and of course it's kind of a specialized deal, but I really enjoyed it, and the facilities were great, the eating was great, and everybody was very friendly, and I'll be sure I'll be back next year, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more here next year, and it'll be even greater. Making up a deer hide, and this is strictly my method, what I worked up on my own. And of course right now is the time to be getting a deer hide during deer season. Like just the other day I went down to the local deer processor and told him to save me back 8 deer skins off of the biggest bucks that come in and make sure they don't have any big holes or blood spots on them, and he's good to me, and he saved me 8 real good skins. And first thing I do when I pick them up, I just spread them out on a piece of plyboard, and just spread them out, and then take a sharp knife and cut all the way down to where the white hair starts on the belly, on both sides, just straight down. Then about a couple inches above the tail head, and then right about the top of the shoulders, because of the neck, it gets real hard, and you can't hardly work it, and the bottom part's not real good either. And then next thing I do is just give it a good washing, because there's going to be blood on both sides, on the flesh side and the hair side, because they just throw them in a bag and they just gets all mixed up. So I'll hose them down till the water's clear, no blood in them. Then I take them and, well, the first thing I do after I trim them is to flesh them. But I don't have to get all of it off. I just get the big pieces off. Don't go to a lot of trouble fleshing it, because it don't have to as long as you get the big pieces off. And then get it good and clean. And then I soak it in some soapy water for an hour or so. Pull it out of that, and then put it straight into the lime. And it'll float to the top, because the hair's hollow, so it won't sink to the bottom. But I don't really worry about that as long as the hair side's up in the tub. And I you don't need a lot of lime in there, because it'll slip in 24 hours. You can go out there in 24 hours and it'll just push off with your hands. And then after that, I take it and wash it again till I get I'll hose it off till the white water, the lime, you can see the water clears up. And then I take it and give it an acid bath. I probably use something different than everybody else uses. I don't use vinegar, but I use 99% acetic acid. Vinegar's got acetic acid in it, but not very much. But the pure acetic acid is really, really strong. So I don't soak it, I just rinse it. Just give it a good rinsing for just a couple of minutes, and you can see everything start to change. The water will get a little milky, and the hide will go to getting a little different feel to it, and maybe a little color change, and then it's ready. So then you take it out of that and give it another rinsing. Then I got a piece of plyboard about the size of this table, 1/4-inch plyboard. I take it and just nail it, or spread it out, flesh side up, nail it around. And there's 2 different ways you can do this, or the way I do it. One way is I stretch it just as tight as I can get it. That way it turns out Everybody wants to
Yeah.
pass this around. All right, it'll stretch it tight as I can get it. It'll be, what do you call it, opaque? Opaque. And I like that the best.
Yeah.
Or you can just have it flat out and nail it around, and I turn it over where it'll drape down and it'll dry translucent. There won't be an opaque spot in it. It'll be translucent. But I also found out one of those was dried translucent and the other dried opaque. The smaller string was dried translucent, but once you split it down, it'll turn opaque anyway after you stretch it. I take those strings and just string them out on a fence. Don't stretch it, but just let them kind of hang there till they dry, and it'll turn. So I don't see much advantage doing the opaque. But once I put it on that plyboard, then it's really easy to flesh. Just take a sharp knife and you can just go right down it. Stand your board up and you can just go right down there and peel that, what flesh is left. It'll just kind of peel off. And then another thing I do that probably I bet nobody else does is I take one of these meat cleaver, an old meat cleaver blade that's pretty dull. Just run it down that till all the moisture's out of that hide. There's till no moisture left in it. And it's amazing how much moisture you can drag out of that hide. And it starts shrinking up nearly immediately. Then once I get that done, take it and raise it up on that board about that high where where air can go on both sides. And it'll, on a dry day, it'll dry in 24 hours. You can take it down 24 hours, but it's best, I found, to let it rest a while because it'll keep it drying for a week or more. I like to let it set for a while. So if you try to cut it up right then, you'll find there'll be some spots in it that still got a little moisture in it and it'll ruin your strings. And then I think there's two different ways that I cut up a deer hide. I can cut a deer hide from top to bottom all the way to the outside in strips about 3/4 of an inch wide, and there won't be an ounce of stretch in it from top to bottom. It'll be good all the way down. But you go to cutting circles, it'll stretch this way. So you got to really watch where you cut your circles. I always cut it down the middle most of the time, and then take that strip out of that, and that's really good rawhide. Then cut your little circles out, about 3 of them down the sides, and then you'll get good rawhide out of that. But if I want a long string like those that you are looking at, it's cut across the backbone. Those were cut across the backbone. But you can't do it, you have to go about that far from the top, and maybe that far from the bottom to get your big circle. But then there'll always be a little stretchy spot right down here on that bottom. You just have to keep a trimming off till you come to the good string, and then you can start cutting your circle. Then take it and, I'll have a piece 60 foot long or more. And there's no use cutting a wide strip because you're not going to cut a wide string out of it anyway. You're not going to cut a wide string out of that thin a string. And then just take it and string it out on the fence till it dries. I don't pull it tight. Just you can tell when it's got the stretch out, and don't pull it in more. It'll take the rest out by itself, and that'll dry in a couple of hours. If the air's dry, and then you can take it down and roll it up, and it's ready to use. And you cut but deer hide does not split easy, I've got 30 hides made up. From like a yearling deer, it'll be that thin. It'll be that thin. Up to a big buck, it'll be, a couple of ounces or so. And so you just need to pick the hide. If you're going to do a project like a quirt, or something, both Sal will pick your thickest hide. If you're going to do some little appliques or something, we'll pick your little thinner hide. But there's usually when you cut those long sogas, there's going to be just a little. You don't ever want to do more than just take the high spots off. and that's all. You don't want to try to split a deer hide down because you got to work deer hide dry. I never put a drop of water on deer hide. To get my hide tempered, just lay it out, get my bottle with the white saddle soap and water, and it's mixed up where you can spray it. And I'll spray both sides and rub it till I know there's no puddles anywhere. And roll it up and put it in a bag. I'll do that twice a day for about 3 days on a thick hide. So that'll be maybe a total of 6 times to temper, and it'll be ready. It'll be soft. But if you let it set for a couple of days, it'll just get better and better. The longer you let it set, the better it'll get. And then you can go to cutting, do your cutting. But don't ever, if you dip a deer hide in water and leave it for a minute, there'll be soggy spots here and there, and you'll never get them out. You might as well just dry it up and start all over. So, and you can cut the finest little old tiny string out of that deer hide, and it's really, really strong. It's a lot stronger than a cowhide.
Are you just using white-tailed deer? What kind of deer?
Yeah, white-tailed deer. Yeah, white-tailed deer. My neighbor brought me a mule deer hide last year, and it was really, really thick and big.
Good.
Yeah, but see, I can get a strip when I cut from head. I like to do the head to tail best because it makes the better rawhide. But you're limited on your length, maybe 3.5 to 4 feet at the longest. But you can still, there's a lot of things you can do with a 4-foot string. So.
How do you finish? Is there a finish you put on your deer hide? When you're done with your project, is there any kind of finish that you put on it different than cow?
Yep, they're not different cow. I use for my final finish, I use a neutral shoe polish.
What?
Neutral shoe polish.
Oh, okay.
And it don't take much.
Real waxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't take very much. You just rub it on there.
I've been working some Axis deer hide that Gretchen sends me from Hawaii, and it's probably 4 ounce. I mean, it's heavy deer hide. But I still found it a little bit stretchy because I was dampening it not as much as a cowhide. I think your tip on the way you're using the spray soap is probably the best way to work it.
When you're working it, you want to work it pretty dry.
Yeah.
You'll think it's too dry, but it's not.
Yeah.
And after you're working it and it goes to getting, you think it's too dry, just use plain old white saddle soap and rub it down, and you can just keep going. Actually, it's real easy to work with. And you can cut a string out of that right there, and it won't have an ounce of stretch in it. Like I say, I bet I've got 30 hides made up, and they run from that to thick, and I can just go pick the hide I want.
You keep your hides that you've worked and you got them in bags. You keep them in an ice box. I noticed you had them out on the bench there that day out there.
Oh.
You keep a lot of them in the ice box, and
You
so
mean-
how long you keep them in there. Don't have to worry about mold or mildew or whatever.
You mean after they're tempered?
Yes.
In the winter, my deal in the winter time, I can keep these a month or 6 weeks.
With no mildew, just in the
No,
bag.
just in the bag. In the summer, I can take this same hide, put it in a bag, and put it in the refrigerator, and it'll get mildew on it in 3 days. Yeah, so summertime to me is really hard.
Wintertime, you're okay.
Wintertime, it'll last from now till next spring.
Outside on the bench.
No, in the refrigerator. Yeah, leave it in the refrigerator.
What about in drier humidity?
In a drier humidity? Well, I tell you, and I get along good braiding. You said you didn't like braiding in the summer when it's dry, or?
Well, sometimes there's just no way doing it, but like Enrique said, if it gets so dry, just start to braid in the shower,
See, I get along best in the summer when it's dry,
Yeah.
because I got one of those swamp coolers.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a giant humidifier, and my shop stays better in the winter, in the summer with that air conditioner running than it's in the wintertime. Yeah, so I can braid all day long and
Already.
not have any trouble. Winter times when I have my most trouble with my string, getting dry on it, yeah.
You say in the wintertime it doesn't have a tendency to mold? Or
No,
mold,
it
in the
don't.
summer it does.
Yes,
It's not necessarily the temperature, because you got it in the refrigerator both times.
yeah,
Would it
both
be-
times.
Would it be just mold spores in the air?
Yeah, 'cause I,
More active in the summer.
see, I have trouble with, my stuff hanging around on the walls get mildew, they mold. This stuff hanging around on the walls. Well, who was talking about that down there in, South America? Same deal, my place in Comanche,
Is that right? Huh?
yeah,
Wow.
same deal. It goes away in the winter, and boy, in the summertime, I have a lot of trouble.
Can't hardly get bread and mold and
I'm, nothing, I just wipe it off. The mold?
Yeah.
I just wipe it off.
You can go to Dollar General and buy a double bubble bathroom cleaner
Yeah,
and spray on that mold and let it sit there on a saddle or bridles or, I guess you can on rawhide too. And squirt it off, rinse it off with water and all that little stuff comes right off. That little bathroom cleaner, that bathroom tile cleaner, double bubble, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Not the real cute little green guys, the little bubbles, you know?
yeah.
Is that scrubbing bubbles?
Yeah, it doesn't stay off. Darn sure it works. We go through our deal there, and I got a bunch of stuff hanging up there we don't use, bridles and whatnot. And you can go through there and you can just spray that stuff on there and walk on, you can just see that stuff dripping off. Yeah.
Have you ever done an elk hide?
Yes, I like elk hides.
Pretty much handling it.
Same exact same way.
Because I did I soaked it just like a cowhide.
Only thing I do with my elk hide, it's too big for my plyboard. I put it on a frame.
Well, I stretched it out, but like when I went to cut it up, I soaked it.
But also, I don't like to cut an elk hide around either. I like to cut it straight. Yeah, because it won't stretch this way, but it'll stretch crossways.
Weak when it was wet. I didn't know about keeping it dry. I was just saying, I did an elk hide, and I didn't like the string when it was wet. It's just really weak. But then when it's dry, it's really.
Yeah, you gotta work elk hide real dry too.
Why is that versus a cowhide? Why is it like that?
I don't know, but I think just like when you split an elk or a deer, you know, it comes off kind of layers instead of a cowhide will just.
It's like a horse hide.
Yeah, same way. Yeah,
Do you
that's
think it's because they're so lean?
probably so. But you go splitting that deer, and it'll just pop on you. You'll cut your string. You know,
I just mean because they don't carry a lot of fat like.
probably
the
not.
cow does.
It's a real dry.
So
It's not a fatty rawhide. It's a dry rawhide. You know, not much fat in it.
I don't think it maybe has as much glue in it either.
Yeah. But like on the neck of a deer or the hips, oh, it gets just as hard and you can't do anything. You sure can't split it. So it's just mainly waste.
Alrighty.